Right, good evening everyone and welcome along to another RWA Productions live stream, and tonight we are joined by Paul Wilson as always.
Good evening everybody.
Hello Paul.
And on the right hand side we have the crazy bonkers in the crack, Terry Wall. Good evening, Terry.
Where's he? Hello,
Oh, hey. And tonight we're going to talk about a Huddersfield win, the Cardiff loss, and the games going up against Birmingham. So, Huddersfield 0, Sunderland 2, Pritchard and Amad Diallo scored goals on that night. Paul, how did it go? Take it away.
Well, as I was down there, I was actually over the moon with that. But first off, I wasn't happy with Huddersfield. Actually, were all over us first off, a bit like Cardiff. But no, I wasn't happy with the first half. Mowbray made the changes, and we won that game.
What did you think of the changes? Did you think the changes were good? What you made?
I was pleased he actually brought on Sim second half. I knew he would have done it anyway, but yeah, I'm happy with the changes he made second half to win that game, especially where they are on the table.
Good goal by Pritchard as well, wasn't it? Really good goal.
Really good goal in front of them. You know that they actually hate him, so the way he actually left. So
how did he leave, like Paul? But what was the circumstances? I can't really remember.
I'm not sure if his contract had ended, but no, their fans don't like him.
No,
I could tell that. I could tell because every single their fan was actually booing him.
It was a canny celebration, though, wasn't it?
Right, then we'll go over to Terry.
All night celebration.
Right, we'll go over to bonkers cracky Terry. Terry Wall, what was your thoughts of the game, Terry, overall?
Well, I think we're steadily getting worse as the season's gone on, to be honest. I mean, I thought the first half against Huddersfield, I was expecting a better performance than that, but we just couldn't pass the ball, could we, really? And I was we were putting it down to the bad weather. But then again, Huddersfield had the same conditions to play, and I thought Huddersfield was stronger, more threatening. There's only one team looked like scoring, to be fair. I know we hit the post a couple of times, but I think their keeper had it covered on either occasion. I mean, Diaku, for me, is not, I want him to do well, but he's not really a championship player in my eyes at this moment in time. And we are kind of scraping the bottom of the barrel when we, nothing against the bloke, but I mean, he's the last choice sort of thing to start. And, the first half, I thought Huddersfield were the better side. I thought we were lucky to go in 0-0. I was quite happy to go in 0-0. It's a bit like Cardiff match at the weekend. And obviously, when you're playing Pritchard by himself, with no strikers up front, that's how we've seen probably the worst of Pritchard over the last few weeks, because he likes that focal point up top, likes to have a striker, someone to play the ball through to, someone to sort of the feed to. And for me, it was probably the worst 45 minutes I've seen Pritchard play in the first half. I thought he was completely anonymous. But at half time, we came out. Eventually, he made the changes, brought on Sims. I think he brought on Roberts. Is that Roberts that came on? Was it Roberts? Or was Roberts already started? I think Roberts came on.
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure.
Roberts did.
But Pritchard got better because he obviously had Sims up front, and he had someone to sort of, he had that focal point to spray the ball around too. And I thought their goal was fantastic. Roberts had a lot to do with it. Again, I think Amad, was it a 1-2 with Amad?
Yeah, Amad, with Ellis Sims.
Ellis Sims, and then obviously Pritchard slides it in and 1-0 to Sunderland, and then we made more changes. We took off Evans and we took off, I think, Embleton. I thought the combination of Embleton and Evans wasn't that good on the night, but and Evans sort of, for me, had one of his poorer games. So you can kind of see in Tony Mowbray's eyes and mind why he dropped the pair of them for the next game, because when Neil came on, Barr came on, they did look a lot better than the other two, but at the same time, we forget that Huddersfield are tired as well. You know, they come down the last 30 minutes of the match, so these two young lads with full of energy should be able to sort of up the game a little bit and sort of dictate against Huddersfield. And I thought we dominated for quite a long time, and then the last 5 minutes, Huddersfield came back into it. But then obviously we got the goal towards the end with the mad. It was 1-2 with Roberts, and he puts the ball in the back of the net. So it wasn't a good performance, probably one of the worst performances of the season, but we came away with the 3 points. And you can't think we're going to kick on from that for the next game, you know? So, Brad, how did you see it? How did you see it, Brad?
How did I see it? Well, when Corey Evans and Dan Neil were playing, I don't think they were a good pair of central midfielders myself, but the same as you, Terry. When they came off, I thought...
Well, Embleton and Evans. Embleton Evans.
Oh, Embleton Evans, yeah. Sorry, Embleton Evans, yeah. But when Embleton Evans came off and Dan Neil and Barr came on, I thought them two looked good together in midfield. I thought they carried the ball a lot. I thought we're giving good passes and good giver goals as well. Passing it around. Pritchard seemed to get a lot of the goal in the second half as well. Compared to the first half. That was because they brought on Ellis Sims obviously as well, and Pritchard likes to play behind the striker because he doesn't like playing up top on his own, does he? He's a false nine.
No, it's not his sort of not his position, is it? Were you listening, Paul?
I'm just looking at for you know what they're talking about tonight, and Christian Speakman's there as well, and I think they've just asked about the squad. Speakman has said strategically we're trying to build the squad over three or four transfer windows, but it just got here. ALS has put we're trying to build a year on year. That's why we've got so many young players and a few old players. We're trying to maintain that balance. So actually they're trying to bring more players in as well. Not just young players, but more, like old players.
Yeah, well, I've seen a statement about Blackburn's playmaker Bradley Dack coming in January. I heard that as well online. If he did come in, what would your thoughts be on that? We'll start with Terry this time. What would your thoughts be?
I don't think he's got a very good. What's his injury record like? Anybody know?
I don't really know, Terry. If you.
I don't fancy the bloke, to be honest. I think I'd rather stay away from Bradley Jack. Say hello to Craig there, Craig and Jeff. Hi everybody on the chat.
Hello, Craig, Jeff, all right?
Hello, Craig.
How are you doing, all right?
But what's your thoughts on Mr. Bradley?
My thoughts on Bradley Dack. I think he will be a good player myself.
You think so?
I think he'll be a good player. He's played 140 games. He scored 46 goals. So, how
old is he now?
He's only 28 now.
Only 28.
Yeah.
I seen some stats somewhere. I forget what it was now. I obviously can't get on my phone at the moment because I'm using this one as a thingy, but I forget what the stat was now. Something to do about starting percentages or something that kind of get off my tongue now.
Yeah.
I actually think Mowbray would get the best on him as well because Mowbray actually, I think he signed them. I actually think he signed them when he was there at Blackburn.
Yeah, he signed them at Tony Mowbray. He signed them at Blackburn. Yeah, he did. And
what's your thoughts on Tony Mowbray, Paul? Then?
To be honest, well, when he first came in, he wasn't a choice for me, but I'm pleased he's here because, well, actually, I spoke to a Blackburn fan, not actually on here, but I think it was, well, I was in a pub somewhere in Sunderland, actually, and there was a Blackburn fan actually in there. And I said to him, what's Tony Mowbray like? And he went, Tony Mowbray will give you stability, but he won't, carry you on, to the next level.
Yeah.
So I think we've just brought him in for stability, I think.
Oh, I think it's one of those things. I think that when Speakman realised, obviously, Alex Neil was going and had to get somebody in straight away. It's basically stability, isn't it? It's not my choice. I mean, I think he's done his dishwater. But I mean, I hope he does well. I hope he's, you got to basically, as much as the results haven't been very good and the performances haven't been very good last couple of games, you've got to realise that there's a lot of players out injured at the moment as well. And until we get really, I would say, midway through February, when you get all the players back and see how he brings his new players in January and see what he does from then onwards, then we'll get a good idea how we're going to sort of fare for the rest of the season, to be honest. But I mean, he made a massive mistake at the weekend, and I mean, he's obviously held his hands up and thinking he might have sleepless nights over it, and I hope he does have sleepless nights over it. You know, like I said before, if I make a mistake at work, I'll make a mistake at work. I'll have a bad night's sleep. So I hope he had a bad night's sleep on Saturday and Sunday night.
Yeah. Well, that's great, Jeff.
Tony Mowbray hasn't actually had the full squad either.
No.
You know, he hasn't had Ross Stewart and Sims up together, so...
Will he play them both together, though, Paul? Will he play them both together?
I guess we'll find after.
Exactly.
At the Millwall game, I guess.
Yeah. Well, Craig Jeffler on the live chat says, how are you, boys? You okay?
Champion.
Yeah, doing really well.
That's good. So, moving on, we're going to Sunderland versus Cardiff at the weekend. Obviously, a really, really bad defeat 1-0 there. I don't know. I can't remember who scored the goal for Cardiff. Whatever it was, fair play to them. What was your thoughts on that one, Paul?
Well, straight away, I thought it was the wrong decision on actually starting Sims. And I don't know why he started him, because to me, I don't think Sims looked fit. You know, I don't know if Sims was rushed back. You know, because I thought he would have started him, say, like after the World Cup. But why did he start him? You know, he didn't look fit at all.
That's what he said, didn't he? Tony Mowbray wasn't going to start until after the World Cup, so I don't understand the reason why he did start him. Like I say, he didn't look fit one single bit. I know he's obviously he's seen Diaku and thought, oh God, Diaku, kind of put him up front. But I would have thought maybe he's a Mad up front and Pritchard behind in his position. So I don't get why Sims started, to be fair. I mean, like I say, it's not going to look good for Sims. He didn't look as if he had a very good game, and he did look as if he was unfit. So it's a bit really unfair on Sims, because he'll get a lot of stick for that match, you know.
I would have put Sims on second half. You know, he done against Huddersfield.
Oh, same again. Exactly the same as against Huddersfield.
Sims came straight on second half.
Yeah, same again. Played against Sam. That's what I would have done. Yeah. I mean, was that possibly the worst first half, Paul, of you've seen at the Stadium Life for a few seasons, or what?
I would say yes. That was the worst for me.
But you, Bradley?
Craig Jeff says before I go into it, it was Mark Harris who scored for Cardiff City. What were you saying there, Terry? Sorry?
Was one of your worst 45 minutes you've seen at the Stadium Light?
I wasn't there on Saturday, to be fair, Terry. I had foot problems, but I watched it on SCFC TV, whatever it is. I don't know what it is, but I watched it on there, and I thought we weren't playing to a standard at all. First 45 minutes, we looked totally dead, to be fair.
What was the most thing you were baffled about with the starting lineup? Were you baffled about Evans and Pritchard both being dropped, or was it Sims starting it? Or was it all together the same thing, all of them?
You know what, Terry? I was just about to ask you that question. Good job you've asked me that question now. Embleton and Pritchard. I don't know why they didn't start.
Evans and Pritchard.
Yeah, Embleton and Pritchard. Sorry. I don't know why they didn't start, because they both played well on Wednesday night in the second half. I thought Pritchard looked really well in the second half, and I think when he scores the goal on Wednesday night, I think on the Saturday, I think he should be started again, because his performance was really well in the second half on Wednesday night. Well, I'm keep saying this, but I just don't get Mowbray's tactics at the moment. I just don't get it.
Like I say, I could understand them thinking and humming and hawing about, you know, Neil and Barr starting, because they had a better second half than Evans and Embleton did in the first half. But to drop Pritchard when you're starting Sims, I don't get it. Again, they think if Sims is not playing, then maybe you could drop Pritchard. But when Sims is playing, who's going to supply Sims? Pritchard.
Exactly.
Yeah, because Pritchard likes to play off a striker. But no, I was surprised that Corey Evans didn't start, to be honest.
Right, he's supposed to be the captain, and you think usually you would back your captain and start him, innit?
Yeah. Well, I remember a few weeks ago when I think 09 Danny Bath was playing in centre backs, and Bailey Wright didn't come in for a long time, and I don't know why he hasn't started Bailey Wright. What's your thoughts on that one, Terry? Why he didn't start Bailey Wright this season until like a few games ago?
I don't know. I just think maybe he just doesn't fit into what Tony Mowbray wanted to do when he first came in. I think he had his obviously his eye set on Luke 09, a more exuberant player, a bit more. I think that you don't know whether Bailey Wright wasn't 100% fit, but he's fit enough to be on the bench, but not 100% fit to play 90 minutes. You don't know whether it was just one of those things he just fancied Luke 09, a midfield gone centre back over a proper centre back. But since Bailey Wright's come in, I think apart from the one mistake he made for the penalty at the weekend, I think Bailey Wright's had a good few games at centre back, and the defence doesn't look too bad, to be honest, with Bailey Wright and Bart there, because I think Danny Bart's been one of the best players of the season for me. And I think Luke O'Nine's had an outstanding season in the Championship, considering that I didn't think he'd make it in the Championship. I thought maybe the Championship was a step too far for him, especially being out of position. But I don't know what Paul thinks about that.
What do you think, Paul?
Yeah, I think the same. Yeah, I've always liked Bailey Wright. Yeah, since he came to us from Bristol City, and like I said to you, look, Brad, Wednesday night actually was Bailey Wright's 100th appearance for Sunderland.
Yeah.
So
the only other thing I could the only thing I think of is if Bailey Wright's going to the World Cup with Australia, is it in the back of his mind doesn't want to get injured, and maybe he wasn't pushing for a place. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, you play games, you get fitter, then you're going to be fitter for the World Cup. So it's a strange one for me, like.
And obviously,
it'll be odd though when like Ballard and Lems come back. What's Tony Mowbray going to do then? Is he going to keep Bailey Wright in, or is he going to push Ballard straight in?
You'll have a headache to select when Ballard comes back in. You'll have a selection headache.
Again, it all depends how Bailey Wright does in the World Cup. I mean, hopefully, touch wood, he stays injury free.
Seriously, if Ballard did come back in, I would play a 3-4-3 system. So I would have Bath, 09, and Ballard as centre backs. Then I would push 09 back into midfield. That's where I would put him, and put him with either Evans, obviously, because he's the captain. So it'll be Evans and 09 in midfield, and obviously Jack Clark and Roberts, and possibly Sims or Pritchard, Sims, Stewart up top, whatever Stewart comes back.
See, the problem we got on Saturday was you start Neil and Barr, they're both young lads, and there's no one to put the foot in. They're both a bit soft, a bit weak at the moment, and you can either have one playmaker and somebody who puts the boot in, or you can't really have two playmakers, to be fair, and that's where we're overrun on Saturday. Yes. And that's for me is where the manager's got to stand up, be counted, and say, look, he did it against Huddersfield. He changed to put Sims on at half time. Why didn't he make the change on Saturday and bring Evans back in the middle when he knew we were being overrun? Because we did the same against Burnley. We let a goal in straight after first half. Second half comes out. We let a goal in under the cosh straight away. And what do we do against Cardiff? Exactly the same thing. Soft underbelly, that's all. I mean, the young lads, they don't be too harsh on Barr and Neil because they're young lads, and they need that experienced person next to them who'll put the foot in. They're like a cat-and-mold type player next to them. Let them do the flair football while they sort of marshal the area and try and win the tackles.
Yeah. So we've got on the live chat, we have Acacia, Cameron, and Jude saying evening, lads. All right, Acacia, how are you doing?
Hello.
Hello, Acacia.
Also on the live chat saying, how are you all? I'm absolutely buzzing about Ross Stewart, what Paul sent me.
Yeah, Ross Stewart's now he's back on the grass now.
Good.
And what the hell happened in the first half on Saturday? It was absolutely terrible, she says. I totally agree with you, Acacia. Yeah, I totally agree. Lost the ball quite a lot of the times.
Passing was shocking, wasn't it? The passing for their goal, like Barr give it away in the centre midfield, and we just never recovered after that.
Nah, the passing was diabolical, mate. I remember when Ahmad lost his footing and all, he lost the ball as well. I don't know if you've seen that, Paul, but
Yeah, I've seen it. The thing is, me and Lee noticed as well, when we, at wherever, home or away, I actually want to see Tony Mowbray on that touchline. During that game on Saturday, I noticed he
Mike Dodds
sat
was playing on
down.
him.
Mike Dodds and Proctor was actually on that touchline more than Tony Mowbray.
He was, and Tony Mowbray always sits down all the time as well. He needs to be on the touchline because obviously he's the manager.
Because Tony Mowbray, because I noticed the other manager was touching instructions to his players.
Mm-hmm.
Fair enough, Mowbray was doing it as well, but nearly all game Mowbray sat down.
Yeah.
It was mostly Proctor and Dodds on the touchline.
So is this a feeling, do you think, from the hierarchy, not bringing in, I would say, a more adventurous manager, somebody who's got a bit more experience further up the tables? Or do you think they just went for someone because they knew they could control Tony Mowbray, they knew they could get him in for probably less money than everybody else? I mean, I'm just presuming this. I just thought it was like, as for them, it's a no-brainer, isn't it? You bring somebody in, you haven't got to pay them that much, and it's just going to be a yes man, isn't he?
Yeah.
We need somebody with a bit of personality, I think, as well, as well as having a bit of experience and obviously being there and knows what they're doing, but also you don't really. I want someone with a bit of personality. I want somebody who can really lift the players at half time, and for me, I just think he probably makes them all want to go to sleep.
Yeah.
I know maybe
that's where he's coming from because, I know he's not here now, but like, say, if Alex Neil was still here, he would have been angry on that touchline.
Exactly.
Good point there, Acacia. She says, I'm sorry, but we won't get Bradley back from Blackburn now. You won't leave them after they're literally second in the table now. No, I don't think. It's also, she says, it'll leave me more better with Ross Stewart and Dan Barrow coming after the injury after the World Cup. I'm good, thanks, lads. She says,
the problem is, sorry, keep going. Yeah, right.
She also says, just on my way home now, lads. Just been shot with my mum after I finish work, so I'll hopefully be back off after the World Cup break, Brad. Yeah, no problem, Acacia.
The problem is when you get players that have been injured for a long time, you've got to make sure they come back and you've got to rush them back too quickly, otherwise they might get knocked back again. So it's okay saying he's back on the grass and Ballard's doing this, but I mean it could take another month after that to get maybe he's up to speed, and then you're going to have to have like a little bit of game time. Maybe he's not with under 23s, but like a little bit of sort of, I don't know, between themselves on the pitch or behind closed doors type thing, because you don't want to put them straight back on the pitch and get back to square one again now for the season, So it's a fine line, catch-22, isn't it, really?
Yeah, I think that's what we're doing with Niall Huggins, because he actually completed another 90 minutes today for the under-21s.
Did they get beat, Paul? Did they get beat, Paul, or did they win? I don't even know the score.
We got beat.
Oh, did we?
But Niall Huggins got another full 90 minutes today, and our under-21 manager confirmed that Huggins has been training with the first team.
Good.
Interesting.
Right. Especially with Luke 9 being injured, you never know. Maybe would he be tempted to start him on Saturday, or would you say it's a bit too soon and just go with Hume? Sorry, Friday night?
Friday evening, yeah.
I think Hume will come in.
Yeah, I do as well. But I mean, was that a penalty on Saturday? For me, I thought it was an accidental clash I thought Danny Bart was running. He didn't see the other player. He was turning. The other guy was running into Danny Bart, and I thought Patterson was going to get the ball anyway, so I don't understand the penalty decision, especially the yellow card. I mean, how would you give a yellow card for an accidental clash?
I thought it was just a clash of heads, Terry. I didn't even thought it was a penalty myself. I agree with you. I thought it was just coming together.
I know the referee was probably blindsided. He's looking at Bailey Wright, then the ball comes across and he sees the two players on the ground. And maybe he just sees Danny Bard going into the other player from his side, but for me, it was never a penalty. Like,
nah.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Because I sit on the other side of the ground, but I'm pleased Patterson actually saved that.
No, he's a good little keeper, isn't he? Good keeper.
Oh, he's good.
I think him and Danny Bart, for me, the players of the season so far, and then Luke O'Nine's done well as well.
So what do you think about Alex Baskin? Do you think he'll be getting a start soon in the FA Cup games and stuff coming up?
I think he'll play in the FA Cup.
Yeah, you have to get a start eventually because obviously he's not getting played hardly, is he? So we'll be waiting for the FA Cup to start.
Well, yeah, it'll be the FA Cup games he play, or sometimes he might play for the under-23s.
Yeah, obviously under 23s as well. He'll be playing under there.
I don't think he's the answer going forward. Like personally, I don't think he's the player I'd like to see sort of as number 2. I mean, it's not like as a kid, is he coming through the ranks and he's had a few good seasons at Portsmouth, and I just don't think. I think anyway, give him opportunity. I hope he does improve. And it was a cracking header against Newcastle in the 23s the other day, but I just think that we could have done with a more of experienced goalkeeper in there just to help bring on Patterson a bit more.
Yeah.
That's what I think we'll do in January, I think Tony Mowbray will look for another goalkeeper.
I'd have thought so, aye.
Got a question for you, lads. Tony Mowbray, 2 years you said I don't think it was his first choice. Who would be your first choice as manager to bring in if it wasn't Tony Mowbray?
Like if he went?
Yes, if you went, or who would be your first choice?
That's tough, Brad.
I ask you tough questions all the time, so should we get used to it?
I don't know.
You don't know about that one. Terry, what do you think? What manager do you think we should bring in? Do you think we should bring in a manager with experience if Tony Mowbray leaves?
I'd like to see somebody maybe just like in the mid-40s, about the similar sort of 40 to 48 sort of age. Somebody who's been in the Championship for a few seasons, possibly even dropping down from the Premier League. There's no names available at the moment I would sort of say we could actually go for. But I mean, I think it's hypothetical because I think Tony Mowbray, we've got to back Tony Mowbray between now and the end of the season. There's no point like chopping and changing another manager just now, to be fair. I mean, it's a bit harsh if even though as much as how bad it was at the weekend and against Huddersfield, we've got to wait until he gets his full squad back and the same sort of ammunition that Alex Neil had. I don't really see much of a game plan from Tony Mowbray at the moment. Like, I want to see a bit more sort of personality from himself and stamped onto the team.
Mm-hmm. Totally agree with you.
I've just noticed, actually, because in that talking, right, Christian Speakman's talking about the home form. Both him and Carrillo Drivers is not happy.
That's poor. It's poor. It's terrible home form this season. It's like I'd rather we played away.
Yeah, it's the same here.
Well, I remember being in the Championship last time. Was it 17-18 season or something like that? Our home form was shocking then as well. I remember rightly.
I think we were just poor all around that season, though, weren't we? We weren't good at all. I think we had the players there. They just didn't perform. They didn't want to know. They weren't interested, were they?
No,
By this time round, we've got a core of a decent bunch of players. We just need some additions in the January. We're just a little bit short, and also, you cannot legislate for injuries that we've had. I mean, who would have thought with 2 strikers would be taken out straight away, and then you lose your best centre back. The one you just paid money for to come in centre back, and you lose him straight away. So it's been a bit unlucky, but at the same time, you've got to have the strength in there. I took a risk by not bringing in a strong squad in the first place. That's where they're saying, they're taking 3 or 4 different windows to get it strengthened up. But, we fell short this time round. Just hopefully that it doesn't backfire in the long run.
Question here for you, Paul, and it's a tough one again, so you better get prepared.
That's what it is.
Which players do you think will sign in January? So which players do you think we want to see us come in with?
What players do you think will sign?
Yeah, what players do you think will sign? What names do you think in that list do you think will sign?
I think you could. I know my name's not Paul, but I think you could see a load of names you want to come in. I think none of them Speakman will bring in. I think they'll just keep going for some young kids again. You might bring one or 2 free agents, possibly, like, who have sort of been there and done it. But I personally think that, they're just trying to do it on the cheap.
Yeah, well, Morgan Sampson, he's apparently coming from Aston Villa. Apparently, I've been hearing reports about that. So,
he probably got into the academy or something. But I think Will the club actually go in for another striker?
They're going to have to, aren't they, really, let's face it. Even though they said they weren't in for one in the first place. They weren't in for one last time when we only had two. So,
Yeah,
but now the pressure, everyone's talking about it. I think they're going to have to look as if they're going to go for somebody. But he obviously won't be alone. He will. It's got to buy someone, haven't they, really? And then where does that leave Ellis Sims? You know, if they bring who wants to come to Sunderland to sit on the bench, they're going to want to come. If they're a decent enough striker, that's like the Broadhead situation. If they're a decent enough striker, they want to come in and sort of have a chance of getting the game. And then Sims will be like, "Well, I'm on loan. I want to play football." It's like getting the. That means you go for someone who's sort of been there, done it, got the experience, who knows that they're going to get 20 minutes a game or half an hour a game.
Yeah, because on the Broadhead situation, when we knew he wasn't going to come, why did the club not look for another striker then?
I think
we knew.
Yeah, I think they knew deep down inside it wasn't coming. That's what they got Sims for instead. I think Sims was. I think it was the second choice. I think Broadhead was the first choice, and then when they realised he was like a bit of huffing and puffing with the Santos, I think then they went for Sims, brought Sims in.
Yeah,
but
or even Everton might have said. Everton even might have said, we know Broadhead's not quite sure. We have Sims.
But the thing is, though, like I said to Brad, when we played Bristol City, Christian Speakman stayed in Sunderland because Nathan Broadhead was going to come to Sunderland.
Mm-hmm.
But by then, Sims was he though, wasn't he? And once Sims scores 2 goals, you kind of guarantee Broadhead's going to get a start, and Broadhead wants first team football, doesn't he?
Yeah, obviously he's got that at Wigan. He's getting every week first team football. He's actually starting on the starting lineups and everything for them.
But he only scored 2 goals. He only scored 2 goals. He scored 1, 2 goals, Paul.
Who Sims or
Broadhead?
I think he scored 2, didn't he?
I think he scored 2 for them up to now. I think he has.
Yeah, I think he scored 1 against. Was it? Who was it again? I'm trying to think. Oh, here we go. I don't know. Acacia, Cameron, Jude here.
Acacia might tell us.
Acacia might tell us. Nathan Broad had Acacia. Oh, 2 seconds. Right. Nathan Broad had Acacia. I've got a question for you. Wigan. He scored against 2. Who did he score against? Can you remember?
No, I can't remember.
I'll go search up.
Well,
I'm on my computer. I'm on my computer.
You're right anyway, lads. I'm surprised you once again.
Was it surprised you coming on again, Casey? I thought you weren't coming on tonight. Was that a surprise?
Yeah, it was a surprise. Yeah, that's it.
Broadhead scored against Blackburn Rovers.
Blackburn Rovers, yeah. Mm-hmm. That was one of the teams.
I'm trying to think of the other one.
Are you okay, Acacia?
Yeah, you, Terry?
Yeah, have you been Christmas shopping?
Yeah, just a bit.
Which Sunderland players on your Christmas shopping list, do you think?
Luke online.
They were going 9, huh? I mean, as in, like, who do you want to bring to the club, not who you're going to buy a present for?
Yeah.
So what was your thoughts on the game at the weekend, Acacia?
Terry, honestly, I was at the game. I sit like literally. Well, we stand 2 like seats from Paul. It was just terrible in the first half. I was like really annoyed, and I was like, I just don't know what to say.
Were you good at when Pritchard wasn't starting?
I thought it was like when I said to my mates, "Oh, he's on the bench." They were like, "What?" But he could have started on Saturday, but it was good that he rested him for the second half, just to see what he did.
I mean, when Pritchard came on second half, he did well after the last. I thought he did really well. Him and Evans both did really well and showed the experience, and I think that's probably made Tony Mowbray realise he's made a mistake, obviously, apart from the poor performance and everything else. But I think both of them will definitely start against Birmingham on Friday.
100%. Yeah. What changes do you think you'll bring in, Terry? You got the whiteboard with you so you can actually write it down.
Go on, Terry. Go on.
I have got the
Terry.
whiteboard, but I haven't wrote it down. But I've still got the old ones on there, so it'll take us a bit of time. But I think obviously Luke 9's suspended for Friday night. He can either go 3 centre backs and do 2 wing backs, but I think he likes to go for the flat back 4. So I think he'll just bring in Trey Hume to replace Luke 9 with Wright, Barton, Serkin. I think Evans and Neil will be in midfield. I think you're going to have Roberts and Clark, Pritchard, and probably a Mad up top for me. I wouldn't start Sims. I'd let Sims come on at half time if needed.
Yeah, half time or 20 minutes before the end. Bring them on.
I mean, unfortunately, I think Evans and Neil's probably the best combination at the moment that we have. I think we do probably need to go into the transfer window. And I would like to see another real quality midfielder, centre midfielder. Somebody can put the stamp down on the game to come in, but whether they're going to do that with a lot of midfielders that we have already, if that's the case, then the likes of Matete will have to go on loan.
Yeah.
But do you think, Acacia, do you think Matete and Evans be any good? Are the two similar? Do you think? I think Evans and Neil are the best two.
Well, like you said, Terry, I think Matete should go out on loan. Because obviously he's been starting for the under-21s a few weeks ago, I think it was. Obviously Evans came on second half Saturday, but Dan Neil he didn't do well in the first half. When I saw what he did, it's like, really, Dan? But I think Matete should go out on loan, whether he will or not.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
So, Paul, out of all the midfielders, who would you put on loan? Who would you start on Friday night?
On loan, it's got to be Matete. I wouldn't be surprised if he went back to Fleetwood actually on loan. Start. I would bring Corey Evans back.
Yeah.
Especially because we're playing against Deion Sanderson on
And
Friday,
Troy,
I'll
Troy
bring
Deeney.
Sanderson. I'll bring Evans back.
And we're playing against Troy Deeney, don't forget as well.
Yeah.
Who would I play alongside Evans? Pritchard. It's got to be
Pritchard? What, Evans and Pritchard in the centre midfield?
Evans and Pritchard, do you think, Paul? Do you not think Evans and Neil?
I don't know, but Neil might come in, but I think Pritchard might.
Well, he'd probably play the 4-2-3-1, won't he? So, who's going to be your 3 then? Roberts, Clark? For me, Roberts, Clark and Pritchard, for me, that's just my personal preference.
I agree with Terry there.
Yeah.
Obviously, Roberts, Jack Clark, Pritchard.
Who starts up front for you 3? Then I'd probably put Ahmad up there.
Yeah, Ahmad as well, I would.
Ahmad, yeah, 100%.
Yeah, be Ahmad. I'll shout at the screen if it's Diaku.
I hope it won't, mate.
Diaku can't even score for Gator, never mind Sunderland.
I don't even know why he started him the other day in the first place.
I don't know either, Acacia, to be fair. I think he'll play the 4-2-3-1 as well. I think he'll play back 4 of Bailey Wright, Bath, Wright. No. Bailey Wright, Bath, Tribune, Circle. That's your back 4. Then your 3 in the middle. We'll go Evans, Neil, and we'll possibly say, who could you say? Who could be other midfielder be?
Well, are you doing that there? Are you playing the 4-2-3-1 system, Bradley?
Yes, I am. That's what I'm thinking of doing.
But it depends if Bailey Wright goes to Australia though as well, because obviously we're waiting until they pick the team for the World Cup.
Then obviously Ahmad starts up top as your up fronter. And I think Pritchard, Clark and Roberts has to obviously start as well, so that's an obvious no-brainer there. So
I actually hope Circle's alright as well, because it looked like during the game against Cardiff, when he went down on the floor, it actually looked like he picked up his hamstring.
it actually did, aye.
Yeah, after that other game that he picked up his hamstring as well.
Yeah, and the ref decided to play on.
Yeah.
And obviously, Circle and Pritchard's actually on dying embers as well of getting their 5th card as well. So they could be on suspension as well if they get the 5th card picked up.
I think that ends actually on Friday, I think.
It does, So,
I just can't believe Luke O'Nien. I knew that was going to happen.
what about
Let Luke O'Nien that he was going to get booked on Saturday. I knew that was going to happen.
So, World Cup break. Think England's going to win the World Cup?
No.
No chance, Brad.
No
chance.
Why would we? The crowd.
Yeah, we haven't won the World Cup since 1966, man. So,
I think we might win one of the group games, but I think that will be it.
some crackling going
Well, what do you reckon the score prediction will be on the Friday then, everybody?
Good question there, Terry. I was just about to come to that, to be fair. Who do you want to start with? Shall we start with Paul? Because I always pick on Paul. So, how
You do. Well, Tony Mowbray did say in his post-match that he hopes to turn it around.
Good luck.
And we're on Sky.
Boring Sky.
Sky sometimes does jinx us sometimes. Do I go for my head or do I go for my heart?
What do you go for, Paul? Head or heart?
Birmingham,
I'm
a big,
gonna
strong
say-
physical side.
Yeah, they're really good at
Yeah,
all
they
these
are.
well, Terry. They're really good.
We are
But like
really
what-
good side.
What
They've got-
what Bauer said yesterday. Birmingham play tomorrow,
Yeah, they've got Swansea.
and we've got Birmingham on Friday. Will that come in our hands? Us fresh off the weekend. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go 2-1 Sunderland.
Go on, Paul. Who's your goal scorer going to be?
Alex Pritchard,
Alex Pritchard. Come on, Paul. Yeah. Well done.
Ahmad.
Ahmad. Yeah. Nice.
And then for Birmingham.
Well, it'd be Sanson that'll score for Birmingham.
Acacia's just going there, going yes. We know. Acacia, Cameron, Jude, we'll go to you.
Oh,
Score
God, but I
prediction.
I'm hoping probably 3-2 to us. Jack
3-2
Clark,
to us.
Pritchard, Ahmad, and then for Birmingham, Troy Deeney with a penalty or a free kick or a corner with a header, and obviously Dion Sanderson.
Right, we'll go over to the Madmistake. Terry, score prediction.
Oh, it's a tough one with Sunderland these days, isn't it? I mean, I think Birmingham's a
Oh.
decent side this season. I think they look quite strong, even though they're one of the favourites to get relegated at the start of the season, which is bizarre. But like I say, my heart never wants to get beat. So I think, to be honest, I never predict a draw. So I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw.
1-1 draw.
I think that's the best we can ask for.
Yeah.
Not bad. Not bad.
But I'm hoping for a win. Don't get me wrong. I'll be over the moon for a win. If I think negatively, they might surprise us.
Well,
Goal scorer, tell you what, Dennis Serkin.
Dennis certainly.
What's your score then, Brad?
Good question there, Terry. 2-1. 2-1 us. Then obviously goal scorer. It's going to be. I think Ahmad will get one, and I don't think Pritchard's going to get one this game. I think it's going to be Embleton's chance this time. I think it's going to be Embleton's turn to get one this time.
Hopefully, if he starts or comes on in the second half.
Yeah, because I've seen a few times Embleton's came on in the second half and he's changed the game a lot and he's been scoring a few goals for us quite a lot in the second half as well when he's came on. There's a point to pick up on here as well because Paul's put on Facebook the other day that apparently Sunderland were throwing stuff at the Cardiff City players
Yeah,
on Saturday.
Yes,
yeah,
they were.
they
Actually.
were. They were throwing stuff at the goalkeeper, and then the goalkeeper threw the stuff back at the fans.
So what's your thoughts about that? Us throwing stuff, what's your thoughts?
That's not good enough, is it? Yeah, it's not good enough.
Behavior. What? Honestly, I think they should get banned for that.
Exactly, I think they should get banned. And do you think the stewarding's good enough, or do you think we need more higher stewarding?
The stewards are crap at the ground.
Was this after the game finished, or was this during the game? When was this? I never heard this.
It was after the game had finished when because apparently the Cardiff players had come up to our fans celebrating right in front of us.
Yeah, you can't be throwing stuff on the pitch. That's definitely a no, 100%. It's at the end of the day, we don't know what they're throwing, but it's any fan that gets seen throwing stuff on the pitch usually get banned. Don't they? Simple as. I think that's probably the way to go forward. You can't be abusing anybody, to be honest. Accept it graciously accept it, and you're being beaten by a better team, simple as. Take it on the chin, end of the day. Bounce back next game.
When they scored, that player came over to us and actually celebrated.
Yeah, it was Mark. His name's Mark Harris, and then when he went off injured, all the kids off the rocker end started throwing stuff at him when he went off injured.
That's where we normally sit. So I'm glad we weren't at the game for that one, to be fair, because they're just making bad examples of themselves. They're just going to get themselves banned from the stage eventually if we keep doing this all the time.
And then did you see the video on Twitter today that the Cardiff and Sunderland fans were fighting behind the Cardiff bus?
Yes, behind the coach bus. Yes, I seen that.
Yeah, apparently because when me and my mum came out of the ground where we come out of the southwest corner, we saw like teenage lads with bandanas up on the mouths and stuff to go and fight obviously the Cardiff fans.
Why did you watch the SCFC fans react video after the game when Sean Middleton was doing the interviews outside? Apparently a few players with apparently a few Sunderland fans were fighting there as well when Sean Middleton was doing it.
Oh no, I didn't see that. No, I've not watched it all
because
yet.
there was a couple of Cardiff fans, because I was with Sean actually after the game. There was a couple of Cardiff fans that actually came past us.
It's disgusting, really. Shouldn't be happening.
Yeah, because we all said, well done, good score, mate. They all kept walking past us.
But after we've got a game back at home against Millwall on the 3rd of December, I'll ask all you lads this one, but Terry can answer first. What do you lads think the club should do? Obviously, netting stuff.
Well, apparently, I don't know, I've heard that netting's actually available in there, but I think it's probably the wrong size netting, to be honest. I don't know whether the holes are small enough to stop everything from coming through. Now, I'm sure with this day and age, you can get proper decent netting where nothing at all will go through, and whatever comes down just funnels down slides down the netting. But for me, you've got to have some security up there at some point. I mean, Cardiff fans, there wasn't really a massive following of Cardiff fans, and it normally happens when a team gets getting beat, where Cardiff were never looking like getting beat, so they were never going to sort of misbehave anyway. I'm not saying they were going to misbehave, but it's normally, Burnley were getting beat 2-0 at the time, Portsmouth were getting beat when they threw the flare, Coventry were down 1-0 at the time, so it usually happens when teams are getting beat, and at the moment this season, we're not very good at home.
Yeah.
So we could really, to be fair, we should have it in place anyway, because it's, you've got to try and prevent it before it actually happens, have some sort of system in place. And if we're not going to move the fans at all, even next season, then we're not going to rehouse the fans. We need to have some netting up there, simple as. Because, you don't want it to happen again. I hope that young lad who did get hit by a vape's okay as well. I've never heard much since, but at the end of the day, I think he should have been put in the VIP.
He should have.
That's my opinion.
Yeah.
I'll have to go, lads. My team's ready.
Right, no worries. We're going to wrap up anyway, Acacia. So take care.
Yeah.
You
Take
as
care,
well.
Acacia.
See you
Watch
later.
See you
yourself.
later.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
But yeah, I think the club should put netting up against Millwall. Plus, I never thought I'd say this, but I think the club should get more stuff outside
I
the
think
ground
we
as
should.
well. Great.
I mean, there was quite a few. There was quite. I was watching them on Saturday. There was a lot more stewards there, and they were searching. A couple of Cardiff fans weren't happy about being searched because they're saying, "Why are we being picked on?" Because of one or two idiots. But end of the day, if the netting was up and it's paid for and it's there and it's done, you wouldn't need as much security outside anyway. So long term, eventually, it would pay for itself. I would have thought. I mean, I don't know how much the stewards get paid, but I mean. But not just that, the main issue is the safety of the fans. That's what it all comes down to. And you can't have anybody being hit by anything. So the only way to stop it is by having a prevention there. And for me, to get the correct netting up there, so nothing at all comes through. I mean, it's got to be available. Surely, I think Sheffield, one of the Sheffield United use it at their ground.
Sheffield United, yeah,
Yeah,
use it at
Sheffield
their
United
ground.
use their ground, and I'm sure they'll use it away fans and sort of away grounds abroad as well use it. So it's definitely there. It's just a matter of getting put in place. But then if you put it in place, you're not going to really rehouse the fans next year, are you? Because you just spend all that money on netting. So you've got to think to yourself, what are you going to do? Are you going to move the fans next year? Or are you going to buy netting this year and just keep the netting there for a few seasons? So for me, I would just buy the net and simple as leave the fans up there by the net.
Well, I've seen a few of your vlogs, Terry, and apparently you can't film inside the stadium anymore. And quite a few people.
I know, but to be fair, basically saying nobody should be recording the football match at all inside the stadium, but everybody does it. Just unfortunately, they're watching me because
I don't know
it's one of those things, isn't it?
I don't know why they're watching you and not other people. I don't get it. We should be
Well, I don't know. Maybe they just think I'm a naughty boy and they've got to stop me first. I don't know. Unfortunately, at this moment in time, and just for this moment in time, because I'm sure one day I'll be overtaken, I do have the most subscribers on YouTube for a Sunderland vlogger. So maybe to say we'll nail the biggest vlogger first and other ones might follow suit. I don't know, but the likes of Jamsani's fantastic. And I think eventually Gilesy and Steve will overtake me anyway because they've got the youth, they've got the comedy duo, and they've got the technology and they're a good combination. I think eventually Gilesy and Steve will overtake me and be number one vloggers around.
Yeah. Right, guys, I think that's...
Did you notice Steve running around the pitch, Brad?
I've seen that.
Did you see it at half time?
Yeah,
he's a top bloke, and he's a top bloke, Steve. I like Steve. Gilesy's class as well. I've known Gilesy for a while. He's class.
Right, and guys, I think that just about wraps it up tonight. Please go and subscribe to the Madmistake and the Madmistake Visits if you haven't, because he's a great YouTuber all along. How many subscribers have you got now, Terry?
Well, we'll take away the great. I'm okay. I'm an okay YouTuber. We'll pass on the great. That's other people would be called great. I'm just okay. 15,660 odd, something like that. And then Madmistake Visits 15,600 plus. And the Madmistake Visits is about 880.
Well, please get him to 900 subscribers on the Madmistake's Visits, and please get him to 16,000 by the end of the season. I'll really appreciate that. And also subscribe to the Red White Army podcast as well, or the RWA Productions, what we'll call it. Thanks very much indeed for joining us today from myself and from Paul Wilson down the bottom of us, like always.
See you next time.
Paul. Great being on.
See you next Tuesday.
Cheers, lads. Cheers, Paul. Cheers, Brad.
No worries, Terry. Anytime, mate. Anytime. Catch you in a bit, lads. Take care. Bye-bye for now. Love you and leave you.